So I feel like I need to make a little video talking about this because I've been seeing this comment a lot lately. Mostly on the Blood Gulch related stuff saying, oh, well, clearly you don't like the Blood Gulch stuff, you're very critical of it. Obviously you're not here for the red versus blue part of red versus blue. And I feel like I need to address that because it's gotten to the point now where it's kind of ridiculous. And to understand where I'm coming from, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story. Of a film called Operation Dumbo Drop. It's a very obscure mid-90s Disney film set in Vietnam during the war. Now I know what you're probably thinking. A Disney film set in the Vietnam War? That's about as opposite as you can possibly get. Yes, it is true. And the majority of you probably never even heard of this movie because it has faded so far into obscurity that you're very lucky to find a copy of this film. You can buy it on YouTube, but physical copies are practically non-existent. But it's a story of a squad of Green Berets are transporting an elephant to a Vietnamese village because their original elephant was killed. And it's the whole thing about a ceremony, an elephant god, and all that kind of thing. And you know, some of the Green Berets are going home soon, so it's kind of you get the picture. It's not a very good film, at least not by film standards. I mean, the script is cheesy as all hell. The dialogue is extremely cringeworthy at times. Acting is not the greatest. I mean, the kid who plays Lin is terrible. And it's funny because this movie has some very well-known actors. You got Ray Liotta, Danny Glover, and Dennis Leary. You know, three actors who have had very worthwhile careers. But nobody knows this movie. And it's a ridiculous movie. I mean, it's set in the Vietnam War. It's all about transporting an elephant. You know, and at one point the elephant parachutes out of a plane. Yeah. Spoilers, but the movie's like 20 years old, so, you know, fuck it. So yeah, it's not a very good movie. People don't remember this movie at all. It's not well written, not particularly well acted. The story is absolutely ludicrous. And yet, despite all of that, it is my favorite movie of all time. Seriously, no, it is my #1. On my top 10 list, that is my #1. A film that I first watched 20 years ago, and nobody remembers. And the reason I like it is, despite, you know, the massive flaws, is because it doesn't... Those flaws don't take away the feeling I get watching it. It doesn't take away the moments where I laugh. It doesn't take away how emotional I get towards the end of the movie. It doesn't take away from the fact that this has one of the most hauntingly beautiful soundtracks I have ever heard in my life. It doesn't take away the heart of the movie, the feeling of it. It doesn't detract any of that from this movie. You know, despite the fact that it's not from a critic's standard, it's not a good movie. But I love it, and every time I watch it, I'm just completely at ease, and I don't have any worries, and I'm not freaking out about anything, and it's one of those feel-good movies that you can just watch and be okay with. So, my point of this story that I'm getting to is, just because I'm critical of something doesn't mean I hate it, or that I necessarily think it's bad. Like, yeah, I had criticisms towards Blood Gulch, but that doesn't take away the fact that the writing is incredibly snappy, the characters are incredibly endearing. You know, Blood Gulch has its place in history. People are going to remember Blood Gulch for a very long time. Like, when you think Red vs. Blue, you think Blood Gulch. That was the origin. That is where people automatically, their minds go to. And, you know, yeah, there's some dumb things, but it's a comedy. Of course there are dumb things. Every comedy has stupid things. As a critic, I just, you know, tend to criticize them more. And yeah, it makes for funny jokes. You know, I try to be funny with it, with the criticisms. But just because I'm critical of it doesn't mean I'm not laughing whenever Caboose is an idiot, or, you know, I don't find Griff and Church hilarious because they're, you know, incredibly sarcastic. You know, the writing is brilliant. You know, the dialogue is extremely witty and funny. And, yeah, I mean, I have no problems with Blood Gulch. I still enjoy Blood Gulch. Did I have issues with Season 4? Yeah. Do I think Season 4 was a necessarily bad season? No, not really. If you go back to the review, my main problem was I didn't feel that the Mystery Tank arc was a story arc that deserved to be, the focus of an entire season. That was it. That was my main problem. And yeah, the Reds aren't my favorite characters in the world. I mean, Griff is. Griff's my favorite, but I mean, I understand Red versus Blue. It's half the show. And the Reds have their place. They are the comic relief. They are kind of, when things get too serious with the Blues, we go to the Reds and we kind of just relax for a while. I get that. So it's not, what am I trying to say here? People have this stigma that critics only see things in black and white. They don't have any, shades of gray mixed in there. They either love something or they hate something, and there's no in between. And content creators kind of tend to think this too. I know certain content creators definitely tend to do that. They don't really understand why you criticize. Well, they understand why you criticize, but they don't see a point in criticism, and I just don't agree with that. It's like, if you don't criticize something, you don't point out the flaws, how do you expect people to get better? You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I come from there. But just to clarify for everybody watching, as of now, the only season that I actively dislike is Season 9. Season 9 is the only season that I can say I don't think is very good. Well, half of it isn't very good. And that's the only season I have a real problem with. Yeah, I have issues with Season 4, but I don't really have... I don't have a vendetta against Season 4. I don't like it very much, but I don't hate it, It's... Blood Gulch is not the problem. Blood Gulch isn't a problem, period. I can still laugh at it. I still appreciate it. I mean, yeah, I like story stuff more. But my first time watching Red vs. Blue, I watched it for the comedy. So there you go. And I hope that kind of clarifies it, hopefully. I'm not trying to be an asshole here. I'm just, doing my job, so to speak. Alright, that's all I got for right now. I just feel like I needed to address this because it was getting to a point where I was seeing it a lot. And hopefully this clarifies some things. 10 will go up before I leave for RTX. I don't have an exact ETA, but I will be flying down there on the 5th. Yeah, I'll be flying down to Austin on the 5th. So, before that, the 5th of August, between now and the 5th of August, RVB 10 will go up. There's your time frame to work with. So, yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.